Chapter 13. Limitations in Communication. When you have psychic power, have the freedom to go anywhere, you can go to a world with an energy value of 12 as well. Even if at that time you only have an energy value of 6. With the conducive energy value of the area, they will be filled in later. Energy value 6 has the factors that are ready for energy value 12, which are mostly increased abilities, such as being able to communicate telepathically, and there will be many other skills that come from this factor. In fact, there is another set of qualities that will occur after you reach level 6, that is energy values 7, 8, and 9, which means that you will be able to understand your entire story. From the past to the present, what has happened? How many lifetimes you have been born? Who are your connections? And when you know that, you will have concern for every spirit that is still stuck on earth. Because you will know that in reality, every spirit is connected, has the same parents. Many spirits, when they die, choose not to go anywhere, but to be reborn on earth again out of concern for their siblings. This group of spirits has different names in each race, but in your culture, they are called Bodhisattva. It means the group of spirits who can know or are liberated, but are willing to sacrifice themselves to help all living beings. Some spirits even make a vow that they will be the last spirits to leave this world. He replied, but when those spirits are reborn again in a world with an energy value of no more than 3, they return to the limitations that prevent them from being as intended. But from now on, this will no longer be the case. Your world will have a conducive energy value, and many secrets will be revealed, especially about the skill of accessing knowledge from the universe. You will be able to do it more easily than before, but you will still have your physical limitations. That is the limitation of communicating the knowledge you have gained to others, and the limitation of communicating with God, like I am communicating with you now. If this were on Thungra, I could just determine that you would know what I know immediately, without having to explain like this. Sir, I understand the limitation of communicating with others. But what do you mean by the limitation of communicating with God that you mentioned earlier? I asked. I will explain it this way. Suppose you are a young child who is still naive. You were just beginning to communicate with your parents. You can express your needs. You can exchange ideas with your parents. But suppose your parents are the best physicists and chemists in the world. Your parents have a secret formula that they have never told anyone. They want to keep it to tell their child. If your parents want to pass this formula on to you, they probably won't tell you everything right now, because they know that you are still just a child. No matter how they explain, you probably won't understand. The first thing they have to do is teach you about mathematical symbols, what this symbol is called, what it represents, and what value you get when you add, subtract, multiply, or divide this symbol with another symbol. Therefore, the basic knowledge you have to learn is not the real knowledge, but it is only knowledge for communication to have a common understanding. And this is the answer that you still have. Limitations in communicating with God because you do not have all the skills. You will have different skills, 1 or 2 for each person. If you are a musician, you will only know musical skills. You will only know what sound this symbol represents. You will only know what melody you get when you harmonize with another sound. You will never receive the duty of revealing physics and chemistry formulas. Even if you have the opportunity to receive it from God, you will not have the ability to convey it to others because even you yourself do not understand. Another limitation is the skill of arranging into a concrete form. Even if you have mastered a particular skill and you have the ability to draw new knowledge from the universe, the next problem is the ability to arrange it to appear in a way that ordinary people can understand. There are many people on Earth who can access universal knowledge, but they are limited by the problem of arranging it. The knowledge therefore circulates in their heads. Those people, if they do not know how to arrange it into a concrete form, they will be seen as insane, because they may not know the time and place, not know what to say to whom, what to communicate, with what method, especially if they cannot take action to prove that their new knowledge can be true. Those people often pour out knowledge without a beginning, middle, or end, not knowing the starting point, not knowing the steps that ordinary people can understand, so it looks confusing. We call this limitation a time limitation, because your time and brain can only perceive things linearly. There must be a sequence from 1 to 2, 2, 3. You therefore do not understand the one-time system that we understand. There is the bicycle that you use. In my eyes, it is the most perfect vehicle in the history of humanity. He replied, "The bicycle? Really?" I expressed surprise. Yes. As I see it, humans have developed the bicycle to the point of perfection. The first perfection is that you have developed it to be the fastest it can be as a bicycle, because if you use energy other than human strength, it will no longer be a bicycle. The second perfection is that you don't need to refuel during the journey. You can go anywhere in the world as long as the owner still has energy. Conversely, the more you use it, the more the energy source becomes more efficient. The third is that this vehicle has the least impact on the environment, because it does not use energy from combustion that causes pollution. It does not cause toxic dust. It does not cause damage to life and property if there is an accident, unless it is used for the wrong purpose. He replied, "What is the wrong purpose?" I asked again. You invented the bicycle for travel, but if you use it for racing to compete with each other, the speed may exceed the appropriate level, and that speed will cause damage to life. He replied, "All right, before we go too far off topic, I would like to summarize what everyone has to do. In addition to having the highest level of love, like God, in addition to being able to find the identity, that is the meaning you intended to come and fulfill. In addition to having the skill to seek knowledge from the origin or universal source of knowledge, you must also have the ability to arrange it into a concrete form, considering the situation, whether to speak or not to speak, whether to do or not to do, if it is not appropriate, both for gender and age, both for the situation and time, and both for the maturity or energy value of that person. This is another thing you need to have the skill to do. If you want to communicate with ordinary people or with people who are still at energy level 3, which you know well that they are the majority of the world's population, you need to reduce some things to be appropriate for their abilities. Otherwise, you yourself will be violated by them, and it will not be their fault. It sounds difficult, I interjected. I know it may be difficult for you, but do you know that the feeling of difficult comes from the fact that you have never known and never done it? If you see someone who does something very well, the first feeling you have is that it would be difficult to do it like them, because at that time you have never tried and have not given it real time and effort. But if you learn and practice repeatedly until you have the skill, one day when you can do it, that thing will no longer be difficult for you. Everything on Earth, or even throughout the universe, there is nothing that humans cannot do. He offered additional advice. Now we come to the point where I have to answer your question, he said. All right, what question is that? I asked, repeating.